we're anticipating in about 20, 25 years, if we do nothing, really a planet slipping more and more into peril.
The world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change.
I'm worried that we're running out of time. Every time the scientists reanalyze the data, it's worse than they thought.
Of millions of displaced persons as a consequence of climate. That kind of migration could be incredibly destabilizing and is absolutely a national security problem.
Flooding, it's a common concern. Those floods, those fires, those hurricanes, it will impact all of us equally. That's the incredible thing about Mother Nature. She doesn't care about who you voted for in the last election.
How do you convince voters that this is not going to disproportionately affect their finances, their wallet?
That's a good question, and the answer is, what's the alternative?
Peril, more famines and droughts, more instability, more migration crisis,
right.
And even more a possibility for terrorist organizations to whip people up, to recruit and do more within that instability and that chaos. Problem.
We know that climate refugees are going to continue to increase in number.
We're spending a lot of money. You're right. My plan is a very expensive plan. My plan will have a major impact on the economy. We think at the end of the day, it's going to create a whole lot of good-paying jobs.
So here's a plan I've got. And that is, first, that we increase our investment in research and development tenfold.
I'm not here to suggest that my plan is going to solve every problem. But my plan understands the severity of the crisis.
The consequence of that is not simply that people will need aid and help, but it's also that it will produce more conflict. There will be fights over water. There will be fights over land that can be farmed for food.
I propose that we quadruple our country's investment in things like renewable energy, energy storage, and carbon storage. If we quadrupled it to north of $20 billion, then it would be more in the neighborhood of some of the biggest projects our country's taken on, like the moon landing or the Manhattan Project. And this is certainly as urgent, as pressing as any of those things that we've taken on before.
And so this is not just rejoining the Paris Climate Accords, which I will do right away. It's actually using every lever of foreign policy we have. It means using our diplomacy, our alliances, our trade deals. Centered to them must be labor and climate.
Right here in the United States of America. If American taxpayers are going to pay to develop it, then American taxpayers are going to get the jobs from it. So that's the second part. And then the third part is the federal government steps back in and says, and we're going to start marketing, and even in some cases giving away this stuff all around the world.
I'm again